So what's going on? Sage is investing. They're investing time and resources in updating estimating. There's been a lot of work going on around estimating, and so estimating has been. They started what they call the READY program, the Return Estimating to Dominance Initiative, REDI, and that's what this is all about. Is it's returning returning estimating to dominance in the industry. We're also partnering. We've partnered with Autodesk and Assemble and eTakeoff and others to create these tight integrations between estimating and these other products that will allow you to seamlessly, dynamically integrate the systems together. And so there's lots of exciting stuff that we're doing there, and we're building partnerships, and some of the partners, of course, as you know, are working in Autodesk and Assemble are big into the BIM area, and so we're working there. Really some exciting stuff going on there. So the product evolution, what are we talking about there? Well, if you start Sage Estimating and you're seeing this icon, it is this estimating is powered by the Pervasive database engine. That's the back end, the data, the way the data is stored, and that was yesterday. Today we are powered. Sage Estimating is powered by SQL database. Much more powerful, much more common in the whole database industry, and so people your IT folks are more familiar with it. They know about security and they know backups and things like that. So, and also it allows us to integrate with those other systems that you've just seen, because we're on Microsoft SQL Server. And so the change in data has been a big deal and will continue to be a big deal going forward. Pervasive development ended in 2017. In July, we released 17.1, and then there was a patch released in December, and that's it. There will be nothing more coming for the Pervasive product. All development will happen for SQL. And so in SQL, we had 17.11 and 17.12 and 17.13 released in 2017, and there will be more coming. So for example, in July of 18, we had 18.11. Last fall we had 18.12, and then we are anticipating 19.11 in the summer, early this summer, maybe sometime this summer. Not 100% sure yet when exactly that's coming out, but it will be coming here this year. So there we go, summer of 19 for version 19.11 and fall for 19.12. So what's new? What have we been doing? Well, there's a lot of changes that have been happening to Sage Estimating, and so here's just a few of the feature highlights. So prior to 2017, we added an undo button, and it is a progressive or unlimited back as far as you want to go. We added shared layouts. Layouts are the column configurations, and you can now share those with others on your system. We can do cell level adjust, so you can adjust beyond. You can adjust either a piece of a column, the entire column, and there's some real fun things that we can do in there with the adjust column. We can export to Excel, and so it comes in, as you can see in the screenshot that I have there. It's formatted, and it also comes with formulas, as you can see in the formula field there. Not all formulas are there, but some are, especially the row formulas are there. They've updated the ribbon bar. In 17.11, there were 15 enhancements. Major one of those was updating the ribbon bar to comply with the latest Microsoft standards and such. You can also insert a column right from the spreadsheet, which makes it really easy to just add those on the fly if you need to. So there's material prices added to the spreadsheet just with a couple of clicks. Alternates are also part of the system now, and added. And one note here: they were added in 17.11, but they were refined in 18.12. So if you use alternates, please, please, please upgrade to 1812 because there was some math that was not running right and is now. And as well, you can see that we have the red columns there for excluded alternates as well. Then I'll show you more in alternates as we go forward. Also in 1711, Sage 100 contractor integration was added. We had 300, they added 100 integration. And data connector, where we can use Excel to populate certain fields in the system, like alternate statuses and locations and things like that. And the new license administration system. This is a big deal. No more dongles. So if you're using Pervasive now, you need to use one of these hardware protection devices or dongles, and those have gone away. Sage, the company that makes those dongles quit making them, so Sage doesn't have access to them anymore, and so there are no more new dongles being issued by Sage, not because we don't want to service our customers, but because we just don't have any more. And so it is an entirely new license administration system through a licensed server. In 1712, there were 12 enhancements. We added overline totals, so you can see there on the group phase now that I can start to sort, I can start to sum up and sum to the group phase or phase level with overline totals. The user interface was modernized and just made it look more current and modern and cool and all that kind of thing. And also they're always making performance improvements, maybe not as fast as a gold-plated Porsche, but performance enhancements nonetheless to the system. In 1713, it was a minor release. There were 5 enhancements. We can now copy assemblies from one estimate to another. You can also move assemblies or items within an estimate using the same feature. Report manager improvements. We now have a comparison and variance report, and we also can use Crystal or SSRS reports as also, and so some improvements there. And enhanced database security. This is one of those things like the performance that they're all constantly working on to enhance the system. In 1811, the big change there was spreadsheet sequences. You can see across the bottom there that I've got a bunch of sequence tabs in this image, and those tabs are now available for you, and you can notice that they're, first of all, they're color-coded for whatever that does for you, but they're now unlimited. That's the key feature. You can have unlimited sequences and arrange them, sort them, group them, color them any way you want. And I believe in 1911, there will be more changes coming to the the management of spreadsheet sequences. But before in Pervasive, we were very limited with sequences. Now we are unlimited. Unit conversions. You can now convert from imperial to metric just by displaying the columns on the spreadsheet. And so there's what I have highlighted there with the display quantity and the productivity and the cost per unit in metric. There's more coming on this as well. And finally, more on copy assemblies. That was refined, and refinements also to manage estimates, the report manager, and reporting. So there's just kind of a quick list of the things that have been changed and updated. We've also worked on estimating's next generation. And what do we mean by that? We mean that we are going to work with the best-in-class solutions to get information out of a model or a plan set. And so in this next generation where we are now, that's where you're going to get your information, a model or a PDF plan set, whether it's individual sheets or a file. And we're going to use these Navisworks Assemble or eTakeoff Dimension to get information out of those takeoff sources, the model or the plan set. We're not going to develop our own viewer. Doesn't make a lot of sense, and it ties up a lot of resources. So we're going to use what other people have already created and what the bulk of the industry already uses. So we're going to take those best-in-class solutions and we're going to bring them into Bridge. Bridge is another another piece of software that is just that. It is a bridge between those best-in-class solutions and Sage Estimating. And one bridge for all three, same product, same process, same features, and they all work with Bridge to bring your information from takeoff into Sage Estimating. Notice that all the arrows are flowing from the takeoff into estimating. They also flow from estimating back to takeoff. So you can drill down from the estimate into those takeoff sources and see where the numbers came from. And I will show you that here in a bit. But that is what our data flow is going to look like. And so with that, let's actually look at the demo here. And so we are going to start with eTakeoff. And so here's eTakeoff. It is the 2D plan takeoff tool that we work with. It has, obviously, you can see in the middle is the plan set, and over on the left, I have my drawing set with the anything that's bold as takeoff or something done to the sheet. And right above it, I have traces. Those are measurements that we're going to use to create the measurements. And then over on the right, the way I have it, I have another control panel, and those are kind of my results. And so if I go here to the site plan, I've got asphalt paving and curbing and sidewalks. And I've got an automatically generated measurement summary right here where I can see all the different takeoffs that I've done and their quantities. This asphalt paving, the lovely green color, was created using a trace that is right here. This one right here, 0210 paving asphalt with base. And if I click on this, you can see not only the area that I traced around here on the drawing, but over here on the right, you can see in the quantity list that I've answered some questions about the paving thickness and the area, first of all, and the paving thickness and base depth and mix code and other things. If you're familiar with Sage estimating, you might recognize these as assembly variables or assembly prompts. We're reading the Sage assembly and filling out this detail and specification related information while we're doing takeoff. So I'm not having to flip back and forth and do some takeoff and then enter some detail information and go back and forth and flip them around. I'm doing it all at once. So I can enter in here in the quantity list, I can enter detail and spec related information. And here above that, I can enter in work breakdown information. So I can say I've got, you know, this is an alternate and I'm the estimator and it's not on a floor, but it is part of the site. You can create, as you know, you can create your own WBS codes and you can populate those WBS codes here while you're doing takeoff and they will flow into Sage Estimating. So there's that. First floor, I've got some walls and I've got some, here's my measurement summary. I've got some walls. I've got some epoxy floor coating here around the pool deck and in some other rooms here. I'm going to do this really quickly. I should have done this beforehand, but I'm going to delete these. And I'm going to say yes, and now that goes away. That's nice and simple. And down here, I've got another epoxy floor coating trace. And it's real easy to create them. I can just click this button and I can create a trace. They're real simple. But to use them, I can just double click on this and I can zoom in here and I can just start to trace around the pool. Like this, and like this, and this, and this, and that. And so I've traced the pool area. I can zoom in real tight here and get really spot on with those intersections if I want to. You see it over here on the quantity list, it's 1,900 square feet. Okay, well, that's fine, but I need to take the pool area up. That's no good. I don't need to epoxy coat the pool area. So I can use this disconnected point button up here, and I can just say, click the beginning, the middle, and the end of that curve, hit the C key, the beginning, the middle, and the end of that curve, hit the C key, beginning, middle, end of that one, and I am just going to trace around here, and this one, and this one, and that one. C key. I can hit the D key and enter in a description. Let's call it pool. And so now I've got pool epoxy floor coating, and it's 1,300 square feet. So you'll notice that when I did the original trace, I went clockwise. When I did the donut in the middle, I went counterclockwise. That's the key to getting that removed. I can also add, let's do want to do some more here. I'm going to put epoxy floor coating in these two rooms right here. I can do this, and I can do this. Okay. So I can do takeoff pretty easily. It's quick. We'll just call this mechanical rooms. And now over here on the right, I can see those different takeoffs. Let's just do this. I'm going to come up here and select this. Let's select this. And I'm going to say that these two are part of the base bid. The estimator is Jud, and the floor is first floor. I've now completed my takeoff for the pool deck. You can see that was pretty quick. And it will be very quick to send it over to the estimate. Let's go here to the second floor. I've got all of these traces here. These are all different kinds of carpet and base. Again, same thing. I just went around, traced around, whether it's length or area. If I go here to the third floor, you'll see that the third floor is a mirror image of the second floor, a copy of the second floor. So rather than redo it all, what I can do is copy it. So I can multi-select, and I can select all of these, and I can drag them over here to the project favorites. It says 10 measurements. I can just say flooring standard in case I had a bunch of them. Go here to the third floor, and I can take that flooring standard and I can drag it and drop it back like that. So now I'm almost done. I've created the third floor. I'm going to click this multi-select button again, select these, and I'm going to say that this is the third floor. And you'll notice that the alternates are various. Why is that? That's because I've assigned my alternates here in takeoff. And so over here on the far right, or left, excuse me, I don't know my left from my right this morning, I've got layers. And so if I turn all of these layers off, I can say, just show me the carpet. And so there's the carpet. Or I can turn off the carpet and say, just show me the quarry tile. Here's the quarry tile in the bathrooms. If I select that, it says that's alternate number 2 on the third floor quarry tile. I can turn off the quarry tile and select resilient tile, and that's alternate number 1. So I've assigned alternates here on the takeoff while I've been doing takeoff here in the plan set. So turn all these back on so we can see everything, and there we are. And so now we're back to where we started from. So you can copy measurements, whether it's flooring or whatever it is that you do from one area or one floor or one drawing to another. The roof plan is just a very simple roof plan. It does have, I did enter in the roof slope to 12 so that the system automatically calculates the area, the number of bundles of shingles that I need, rather than just the plan area. On the exterior elevations, you can do exterior elevation takeoff as well as plan takeoff, doesn't matter. All we're doing is tracing areas around a PDF. If I come down here to foundation plan, I've got several things going on here. I've got these structural slabs, grade beams, there's footings on the outside, and there's these caissons around here. Let me do this. I want to do this. I want to delete this because I want to show you how these caissons were found. These were found using a feature called pattern search. And so if I'm going to do pattern search, what I want to do here is show the search areas. This is the area I want it to search in. I don't want it to search out here in all this extra white space out here. I just want it to search in this area. And I do that because I don't want it to count in schedules or keys or things like that. I just want it to count the plan area. So I define a search area and I called it S1.1 to match the sheet number down here. You can call it whatever you want that works best for you. Excuse me. When I get the search area done, excuse me. That's better. I can click this Start Resume button up here, and my cursor changes. Now it has that little square with an arrow in it. And I'm going to zoom in nice and tight here, right around this caisson. And I'm going to say, I want it to look for that. Pattern search can work on a pattern like this dashed circle. It can work on text. It can work on whatever it is that you want to search for. And does a fairly good job of finding things too. So it depends on what you're searching for. So I wanted to search for this. Where do I want it to search? I want it to search that S1.1 area, that light yellow area. And what is it? Well, it's not epoxy floor coating. That's the trace. It is GC database, concrete. It's a caisson. So this is what I'm looking for. This is where I'm looking. This is what it is. And I click search. And down here in the bottom right, you can see the progress of my search. It's found 100, and there we go. And it found 244 of them. So I'm going to double click on this. And these are all the ones that it found. So, okay, you can see some of them are nice and clear, like the one that I picked, and some are got a little kind of stuff going on in the middle, but it found them all, so that's good. What I want to do is review them on the drawing. So I click that button, and there's all the ones that it found. I can say, well, those look good, except I know that this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, for the portico share, are going to have different depths. There are different depths than the ones on the building. So I can say, okay, that's good. Go back to this Start Resume. Now you see these 4 are removed from our selection set. Anything that's green is part of it. Anything that's white is not. I'm going to click this Save and Continue button. And now that removes all of those from the building. And then I'm going to just save those. So I've just counted all the caissons, but I've got 2 different sets. And so you can see here this little red E right here. If I select this, it says, oh, well, you haven't entered the depth of the caisson. So I'll just say that it's 30 feet, enter. And I'm going to say that these are 20 feet, enter. Now I can also come in here and I can go to home and I can multi-select and I can say this and this. This is all part of the base bid. And it's on the, I know it's we'll just say it's the first floor for this. And so now I've done that, and I can enter in these other ones as well, other WBS codes as well. So pattern search. If I come down here on the first floor, all of these lights, these different lights were found using pattern search. And so here's my key or my measurement summary down here. You can see I found all these different lights, and these were all done using pattern search. So it found this H and this X408 and the X407. And so it found all those using pattern search. All right, so pattern search is a cool feature. And also looking here at the interior elevations. Here on this sheet, same thing, got the measurement summary here, but what I wanted to show you here is most of these elevations are 1/2 inch equals a foot. This one over here is a enlarged floor plan. It's 1/4 inch equals a foot. And down here's a detail at 6 inch equals a foot. I can have multiple scales on the same drawing. So other systems make you copy the drawing and set a scale for the entire one. This does not. We've got a standard scale up here. You can see it's 1/2 inch equals a foot for the whole drawing. And then everything inside this blue box is 1/4 inch equals a foot. And everything inside this box is 6 inch equals a foot. So you can have as many different scales on a drawing as you want. The other thing that we can do here is we can go, that I'll show you on this drawing, is that we can compare drawings. So I click this compare and go here, and what do I want to compare it to? And there's an addenda that I have. So I'm going to click that, and I click the align button because I may want to align it. This one works really well. Everything comes in nice and clean. Everything's lined up, but you may have a problem. It may be slightly rotated, or it may be slightly scaled wrong, or moved just slightly in the wrong place. This screen here would allow you to do that. So I can click OK. And if you scroll down here, you can see there's the changes, just some general revisions for addenda 2. And if I come here, I can see those changes. So let's go back here, and I can zoom in. Here's the changes. And I can highlight those changes. I can say, show me, just emphasize the new stuff. Or just show everything. So I can start to change, I can start to really see pretty obviously where the changes are. In addition, if I come over here and I highlight this, you can see I've got changes here. The stove changed from this orientation to this orientation. And I can come in here and I can edit the point. So I can change my takeoff to match the new. And so like this, you would add another point in here to get through to this little area, but you can start to change your takeoff to match that new configuration. All right, so takeoff, lots of features in there. There's a lot here, but what I want to do now is show you how we can bridge that over to our estimate. So I'm going to click the View button. I'm going to start Bridge, and remember, Bridge is that product that ties the estimate and the takeoff together. This is just saying there are no bridges associated. Do I want to create one? And I am going to say yes. It'll Laquita Demo is the name of the bridge. I can also create or browse to an existing estimate here. I'm going to create a new one and just call it Laquita Demo. And I'm going to click OK. Click OK. Here is the bridge. It's simple. There's not a lot to it. If I just go here to the file, you can see this is pretty simple. Home is where you spend 99.9% of your time, and the settings is just one button. So it's really simple product. You can learn it in an hour or two. What it's showing us here in the left-hand column are the resources. This is our Sage database. It's reading our Sage estimating database. Here is my list of assemblies. I can also read items. So I've got concrete, and there's my different concrete assemblies. And I've got other things. You can see I've got a whole list of assemblies in here. Items, I can say there's doors, and there's wood doors, and there's all my wood doors in my Sage database. Question is, why do I care? The reason that I care, is that I want to map things I want to map measurements from my takeoff to wherever they go here in Sage Estimating. So for example, on that first floor, we did that epoxy floor coating. So what I want to do is I know that there is a assembly here, epoxy floor coating. What I do is I take this and I drag it and I drop it to epoxy floor coating. And then what I'm doing here, what I need to do is I need to say, okay, here is the assembly. This is what the assembly expects. It's a very, very, very simple assembly. It only wants the area of the epoxy floor coating, doesn't want anything else. And this is the information I have available from takeoff over here on the right. You can see that I've got an area, and then I've got an area here. And all I did to map, I need to map those, and all I did was drag and drop. And I did the same down here with WBS information. So there's the drawing description got mapped to location, and the alternate got mapped to base bid, base bid got mapped to the alternate, and the estimator got mapped to the estimator, and the floor got mapped to the first floor. So I've mapped these. Now the question that I get a lot is, so do I have to map it every time I do this? And the answer is no. I only need to map this during setup. Once mapped, always mapped is our saying. And so if you've mapped these variables, if you've mapped these assemblies once, you never have to do it again for this project, for the next project, next week, next month, next year. And you can also share them with others in your company. So the mapping is once mapped, always mapped, and it's powerful because it does remember what you've done. And so going forward, it's really easy. Once you get this, and so it's initial setup only. Once you're done, it's quick, and I'll show you. You'll see that in just a second. Once you have done the mapping, notice I don't have any quantity down here. I don't until I run the pass. That's this button. Now I get the quantity, and now I can send it to the estimate. So that's how you can manually send measurements to the estimate. Kind of long, a little bit clunky, but definitely something that's available for you as we're going forward. And the other thing is that just lost my train of thought. That's manual takeoff. We also have automatic takeoff. So these are assignments or measurements that I've been through. I know that I got everything entered, and if I didn't, the system will catch it for me. So I just want to get these over into the estimate. So I can click this automatic button, and I can send 111 measurements over to my estimate while we're sitting here talking a little bit. So it's very quick, it's very thorough, and notice that I didn't have to cut, copy, or paste anything. I'm just all I'm doing is entering in the information here during takeoff, and then I'm passing that information to the estimate. So I'm going to click close. I'm going to go to the estimate and minimize bridge, and here is my estimate. And so this is Sage Estimate 1812. You can see that we got a little bit different look. If you're used to looking at Pervasive, you'll notice that this is different. We've got home, we got takeoff, reports, there's their database, and the advanced as well. On the home here, different things here we can do with a spreadsheet, right? We can collapse it down to summarize. There's a group phase and phase. There's just by group phase, or CSI division, same thing. Expand it back up. We can combine like items. Watch the fine grade right here. And there we go. There's the fine grade all combined up. And so there's things that we can do with the spreadsheet just like that. One of the main differences here that I wanted to highlight is this spreadsheet display tab or area here. And we've got different sequences. Remember the sequences that I showed you in the PowerPoint? I've got these sequences set up down here. Unlimited number of sequences. I've colored them based on the first sort option. So my assemblies are dark green and my floor group sequences are bright green and location, and then alternates. And then back down here at the very end, I've got one for job cost, an estimator. And so I can start to sort these anywhere or group these just like this. And I can do combined assembly, looks the same there. And the thing is too now is layouts are not tied to the sequence. And so I have assembly view sequence and an assembly layout. I can switch this to labor productivity by assembly, or materials by assembly, or whatever I wanted to do. I can do that, and I don't need to recreate the layout for each sequence. They're interchangeable. And so that's kind of cool. I can even go wild and crazy and do a bunch of colors, which might not be a bad idea. Maybe if I always know that all my labor columns are blue and all my material columns are green, maybe this makes sense. So that's up to you. You can start to do some fun things though with it. And so that's one thing. That's great. I love playing with that just because it's kind of fun to see what I can do. We also showed you the let's look at the totals here. And so we've got the totals page here. You know about add-ons and how you can allocate or not allocate add-ons. If I went here to the information for this estimate, I could say that it is let's say 30,000 square feet. Come on, where are we here? There we go. And square feet. Okay. Now I have this column populated down here. And so if our boss comes to us and says, you know what? I know the bid's due in 20 minutes, but we got to be at 30 a square foot to be competitive. So you just type in 30, enter, and you know you need to find $30,000 in this estimate. There's lots of ways to do that. I can say, you know what? Our accounting department is really good, so we can adjust this. We can say we're going to get our materials for 5% less. What does that do for us? Well, that says that we now need to find $10,000, almost $11,000. Well, I could go through and I could back out this and I can do that, I can just work, or I can come over here to the total amount and I can just say, adjust this column, and we are going to spread that $11,000, say okay, and we'll just trust that we can find that. We're now within $3 of the variance of the total that we needed, and so each one of these got knocked down 1.2%. So I can do that way. There's ways to adjust your numbers so that your accounting department is happy. I can also come in here and I can finalize that adjustment and say okay, and now it is good to go. All right, so let's do this. Wanted to also show you alternates. They are part of the system now. And so here's the alternates. And I've got 2 of them plus the base bid. So let's, before I do that, let's go here to the alternate sequence. And I can see that I have some things that are not assigned to an alternate or base bid. So I can highlight this and I can hold my shift key like this. And I can just, one way I can do this is just drag and drop down to the base bid like that. I can also, if I wanted to, I won't do it here, but I can select these and I can do move copy. And I can move it from one place to another. So 2 ways of doing the same thing. Now, if I come back up here to alternates, I need to set statuses for these alternates. So I'm going to click the status button, and I'm going to add a status called included. And I do want that included in my estimate. I'm going to add another one called not. Oops, not included, and I do not want to include that in my estimate. Click OK, click cancel, and now I can come over here to the summary sheet. So here's my alternates. Alternate 1, alternate 2 in the base bid. I can come over here and said that is definitely included. And these I don't know yet, so I'm going to say not included and not included. I don't see them because I don't have, if I check this, now I do see them. And I also see them on my spreadsheet. If I say I like Corey tile today, I can include that one. These yellow marks all go away, and then the 863 plus the 23,000 is 886. This number is not included in that, obviously, because it's not an attached, not an included alternate. So that's how, and you can start to play back and forth with these things and see what works best for you. You can assign add-ons to alternates. You can do all kinds of things to really get them dialed in for you. Okay. So what I wanted to show you next is, remember those that, well, let's go back here. And so, there we are. In the beginning, in the PowerPoint, I showed you that diagram with the arrows flowing from the takeoff source to the estimate, and then the next diagram showed the arrows going both ways. This is what I'd like to show you now is the drill down capability of Sage Estimating. And so this is an assembly, asphalt paving with base. And if I reviewed this assembly, and if I click up here, I can view the pass audit. And I have 1 pass. Okay, keep that in mind. 148,000 square feet, 16,500 yards, give or take. Okay, I'm going to close this. This little blue caret right here in the corner says that takeoff quantity did not come from Sage Estimating. It came from eTakeoff. And so I can right-click, and I can drill down to bridge. When I do that, it opens up bridge. It highlights the measurements that I took, and it also highlights the measurement. So I know exactly what I entered and where the measurement that I took. If somebody comes to you and says, you know what, where did you get that information? You can see that just a couple of clicks. I can show them where it came from. I can also make changes. So I can say, you know what, this one, I'm going to take this point and I'm going to put it over here, and this one's going to go over there, and I'm going to take this one over here and this one over there, like that. Doesn't make a lot of sense, looks kind of weird, but the idea here is that I can change the measurement. I can also change the spec and detail information over here in the quantity list. So I can say that it's now 4 inches paving thickness and 8 inches of base depth. So I've changed measurement and spec or detail information, and I can go through and do that on all the floors, all the plans, all the drawings, and just keep making those changes. And when I'm ready to push those changes back to the estimate, what I can do is I can go back here to view, and I can start bridge again. And this assignments list now becomes real important to me because I can refresh the list. These are the original assignments sent to the estimate. If I refresh the list, it says, oh, there's one that changed. I can filter out the ones that haven't changed. That's what all these others are. I can say, there's the one that changed. It'll show me all the ones on all the sheets. And it says, here's the changes that you made. I'm going to watch this number down here as it says 16,524. As I accept these changes, it's going to move those all over here, recalculates all of the quantities, and then I can send that to the estimate. Close this, go to the estimate, minimize that. There we go. And there's my new quantities in the asphalt paving with base. So a lot of value there. Again, I didn't have to cut and copy and paste anything. I'm just entering changes and adjusting the measurement as needed. You might do things a little differently. You might take a snapshot and you might save off the original estimate and as a snapshot for a particular point in time, and then keep going with any changes here for Rev 1 or Rev 2 or Addendum 1 or whatever you're working with. So that's what I wanted to show you with Sage Estimating and eTakeoff Dimension. Also wanted to show you how we might work with Navisworks. And so here's Navisworks. And I've got, let's just click out here. Okay, so this is Navisworks. It's Autodesk's, one of their 3D model tools that you can use. And it's really got a lot to it, which is one of the issues some people have with it because it is pretty complicated. You can see there's a lot of buttons up here for the top. On the Home tab, there's the Viewpoint tab, there's the Review and Animation and others. eTakeoff said, you know what, estimators need some of that, but not all of it. So we're going to just say you need these 7 buttons, including Help. And so here are those. There's the eTakeoff menu bar, and what we can do is we can start to work with these things here. So there's, as we have these objects, if you've worked with this, you know before that there's a wall, and there's the wall, and that wall has some properties to it. And so here's the properties that it has assigned to it. And thank you, Judy. So we've got properties assigned to that wall. We've also got down here in the bottom, we've got the quantification workbook. And this is Autodesk's Navisworks solution for doing quantity takeoff. We've got something, I think ours is a lot better than this. This is pretty complicated. But we've got this eTakeoff bridge panel. And let me just do this. If I hit this and select this group here, or this family here, there's all my basic walls in the interior. If I select this one, or let's do this. If I select this one up here at the very top, I can say, show me that wall, and it will show me the wall in the building so I can see where it is. And so I can do that. I am going, and then so once you've got your model scrubbed, and you will need to condition it or scrub it and get the properties right, and go from there. And once you get those, then you can do takeoff. To do takeoff, we're going to do the same thing we did in Dimension. We're going to start bridge, and it says there's no bridges. Do you want to create one? We're going to say yes. And we'll just call this Stein Office. There's the Stein Office Bridge. I'm going to create a new estimate, and I'm going to call this one Stein Office as well, and click OK. You'll notice the project source is Navisworks. Sage Bridge is smart enough to know where what the takeoff source is, so I can have a takeoff source of Navisworks and a takeoff source of eTakeoff Dimension for 2D in the same project if I want to. And so you can feed one project with a couple bridges, a couple different takeoff sources, if that's what's worked for you. Click OK. Same thing. You see, here's my list of assemblies. And what I can do here is I've got my interior walls. I'm going to do a couple things here. I am going to append a description. I'm going to say interior floor 1. Hit enter. And it's going to append that to this basic wall description. And then I can take this wall and I'm going to bring bridge back up again here now. And I've got, let's see, 932. Yes, there we go. I'm going to take this wall and I'm going to drag it to that assembly. And you can see it's really simple, again, just for my demo purposes. 8.865 feet long, 12 feet high. That came, you can see model height was mapped from here, and there's the model length. One of the things about that I will tell you, here's the WBS information. There's that interior floor 1 that was mapped to the location. And not much else is mapped, as you can see. That's a limitation of Navisworks. We need to, it's just, we can only map what we can get into the quantification workbook. If you have questions about that, please let me know. I'd be glad to get on the line with you and talk about that. I'm talking with another client right now about this, so this is a very pertinent discussion that we're having. Anyway, I've mapped the length and the width, or length and the height of the wall. I can run the pass, it calculates the quantities, and I can send it to the estimate, just like we did before. So bridge is the same process that I'm working through as I worked through in the 2D takeoff. I can do automatic takeoff just like I did with the other one. And I've got all of these walls that we've done takeoff on. Again, they're all automatic, so I can submit them. It's going to send 68 walls over to the estimate. So I think hopefully you can see that when you do get this set up, and it's not a huge amount of setup that you need to do, you can turn around an estimate really fast, especially from a model. Because a lot of your takeoff, I don't need to trace things. It's all done for me with the objects. So I can close this. I can go to the estimate. Here's my estimate for that building. And you can see I've got, I've got the different things here from there's the masonry, there's the finishes and all of that. I can do it by assembly. Here's all my different assemblies. Same features that I noted with the other one. There's my totals. And so same things that you can do here with the spreadsheet that we talked about before. We can also notice also that I have that blue little caret in the corner. And so that means that I can drill down to bridge. And so when I drill down to bridge, I can, that assembly, it'll take me to that wall and there show me the measurements and highlight the wall in the model. So I can drill down that way as well. So another drill down. What happens if the model changes? And I know models never change, right? Nothing ever changes, but just being a little facetious there. If I click this compare model button, I can compare a new model to an older model, or older to the newest one. So I've got this one here that's a revision. I click that. Do I want to compare it? I'm going to click yes, and when I do, this blue wall is highlighted, and watch the height of the wall. I click yes, and it got 2 feet taller. So, okay, there were a bunch of changes in the model. I don't know where they are. How can I find them? Bridge is going to do that for us. So I start bridge again, and again, remember this list, this resource list. I can refresh this list, and it's going to say, there's the unchanged ones right here. And so I'm going to filter out those just to make this a little easier. Here's the walls that were revised. Here's a wall that was deleted. And there were also walls that were added. I'll show you those in just a second. What I can do is go here, and I can see the change. The wall got 2 feet taller. Here, notice the quantities down here. If I click this, send it to the estimate. That one goes away in this list. I can do the rest of those for this. I can also come in here and I can say, you know, here's one. And this one was deleted. Notice that everything is zeroed here. I can run that pass. Everything gets deleted, send that to the estimate, and that wall is gone. So I can go through and I can go through these individually, changing those. I can also go here to automatic mode, and these are walls that were added. So I've taken care of all three of the conditions that could happen. I've taken care of revised walls, deleted walls, and added walls. So I can say, run the estimate, or run the pass. Sorry, send them automatically to the estimate. There we go. All right, so I'm going to close Bridge, and I'm going to go to the estimate. Minimize this. Click OK there. There it is. There's the updated quantity right there. And so I've got the estimate's been updated automatically from the model that quickly. And so I can get those changes turned around real fast. There's my totals there, and I've got that. And so I can, again, I can see how things are going there. All right. So Navisworks 2D for 3D, Dimension for 2D. That's what we can do. There's reports that we can run, especially if you're same reports that you're familiar with in Pervasive. The advanced with the alternates, so I can do alternates in here as well. All of that is available to me here. So with that, I'd like to switch back here to my PowerPoint slideshow from the current slide. And so where are we headed? What's happening here? And so this is what's coming up, and I can't guarantee that these will be coming up, but a lot of these will be coming in the near future in the release this summer or following that. Spreadsheet item sort or filter is with Excel, you'll be able to sort items on a sequence with no overlines. You can order your items by total cost. Or with overlines, you might want to order items by crew or by vendor or by phase item. So really some interesting power there. Buyout. Many people are asking about buyout. And Sage is currently developing another option, developing an option for buyout. And that should be out here in the next few months. It is, I haven't seen it, but people tell me it's really cool. And we'll offer, at the first rev will be more of a simple version, and then go from there. But it is, there is definitely something in the works, and will be out shortly. Proposal generator is something else that they're looking at, as is expanded WBS capabilities. Alternate price and productivity allows you to have more pricing on an item and productivity, multiple pricing and productivity on an item. Multi-currency goes along with that, will allow you to have multiple currencies for some of our larger clients. There will be some spreadsheet sequence management tools and also address book integration as well. So some things that are coming there, and so we'll more about that as we get closer to release. eTakeoff is also doing some exciting things. Dimension's got some new stuff coming out, and as does Bridge. Bridge's new release comes out here in a couple of weeks, and there are some fun features there to help you not only get started in the beginning, creating traces and even creating items in your estimate or database, but also just features that make things easier to use. So thank you for your time. Have a good rest of your day, and bye for now.